Baylor's still window shopping here in the transfer portal. It's felt like crickets. It's been a couple days here. They got Obi Agbim. They got Michael Rattine. They got J.J. White. We heard from Jackson Posey yesterday. There's good things to be taken from all of those. There's some downsides to be taken from all of those, right? All of them only have 1 year of eligibility left. Like, that's not exactly the place you want to be at. You want some guys who are going to be here for a couple of years. And the more rumors we hear around people that Baylor have reached out to, the more it's evident that might just not be possible at the volume in which we want it to be. Because they're all seniors. All these guys they're contacting are seniors, guys with 1 year of eligibility left. And the most recent one, as of Thursday, is a really interesting name that has been contacted by Baylor already and has been in the portal for a couple of days. Remember Eddie Lampkin? I do. I certainly do. TCU for a couple of years was kind of a problem at TCU in a couple of different ways, but on the court, like a problem. Like that dude was good. Goes to Colorado, then goes to Syracuse for a year each. Now he's in the portal again. He's looking for team number 4 in year number 5, if I'm not mistaken. And he has heard from some of the big programs in the country. Arkansas, John Calipari, Auburn, number 1 seed, A&M plays basketball. They've also heard from Indiana, Oklahoma State within the conference here, and Baylor. Baylor is one of those. I'm intrigued by this. I'm really intrigued by this because I always thought Eddie Lampkin was, he's just a fascinating player, right? He's got an odd body build. He's not exactly rocking a 6-pack out there, but he always produced. And he was a problem for Baylor when he was at TCU. And I really thought they had kind of foundational pieces. Jamie Dixon did when he was in Fort Worth. Eddie Lampkin, I mean, obviously Jamie Dixon's still there. But Mike Miles and Eddie Lampkin, I'm like, you've got kind of a foundation here to not be a Final Four team or anything, but to challenge schools like Baylor or Texas Tech or Iowa State in this Big 12 conference. And it didn't pan out. It was a weird exit. He obviously had plenty to say, plenty of accusations about Jamie Dixon, accusations of racism against Jamie Dixon on his way out the door. Very weird exit from TCU. And there seems to be kind of smoke wherever he goes. But in terms of a player, he can still do it. Baylor needs bigs. The guy's 6'11" and will eat you alive. I mean that figuratively, of course, but literally almost 60% from the floor, 11.5 points and almost 10 rebounds a game. So averaging a double-double in the ACC, and obviously a Texas native as well. He's from Katy. So maybe a move closer to home to end his college career. He's not exactly Norchad Omier. I think that's pretty evident, but he can give you a lot of the same things. You couldn't lean on him the way that you needed to lean on Norchad Omier this past year. Like that couldn't happen. But now you can get a guy who is kind of a walking double-double, just the way that Norchad Omier was. It's going to be, a 13 and 10 double-double. It's not going to be a 20 and 16 double-double the way Norchad Omier was giving you, but he improves every year. I talked about how effective I thought he was at TCU. He didn't average more than 7 points a game at TCU, and he's gone over double figures in his last 2 seasons, one at Colorado and one at Syracuse. That would be a really interesting pickup for Baylor, kind of an old friend / old foe to come and finish his career with the Bears. Again, a guy who's had some negative attention around him. Maybe, he cleared things up at Syracuse because there wasn't really anything coming out from Western New York this year about him. So maybe this is a more mature kid who is ready for one last bite at the apple back in Big 12 basketball. I think it would be a weird fit, especially for the fans. But production-wise, the guy still produces. 6'11", 265 pounds. 265 pounds. That's a big man. That is a big man, Eddie Lampkin Jr. Can't imagine what Eddie Lampkin Sr. is like. But Eddie Lampkin Jr. is a problem, man. He is a double-double right now. The other guy that I want to bring up before kind of getting out of the segment, Terrance Arceneaux for Houston is in the portal. It's a kid who was a 4-star recruit a few years ago, a real big get for Kelvin Sampson at because this year is really the first year that they're getting like 5-star guys. So that 4-star was a huge pickup, but does not start. He's a bench player. He only averaged like 6.5 points a game this year. But I think anyone who watched Houston with any kind of regularity, you're like, this kid should be more. And whether that's the logjam at the position or the kid's just not doing what he's supposed to be doing, like you feel like there is more for this kid. He has played 3 seasons, but is only listed as a sophomore. So he's got a couple of years of eligibility. He's not coming in with just one, like Eddie Lampkin Jr. would be. 6'6", kind of a swing guard. He's not going to play forward, but can be like a Langston Love, VJ Edgecombe kind of guard with the way he would defend. I know a lot of Baylor fans don't like but I love the kind of defensive intensity they play with, and I think Baylor could use some of that. So if Terrance Arceneaux can bring some of that here, then let's do it. He did get Baylor interest out of high school. In fact, Baylor offered him about a week and a half after they won the national championship, which for Houston fans tuning in, the national championship was when you win it. You actually win that last game. You get a banner that says national champions. Baylor did that, and a couple days later, they offered Terrance Arceneaux. He said, I'd rather go to the Final Four and lose. So he went to Houston. But that's a guy you could add to the roster here. There's no contact yet or anything like that. But the last kind of name that we heard for guys they were interested in was Dan Skillings Jr. from Cincinnati. And I know Arceneaux doesn't start, but if you're giving me those two options, I'm taking Arceneaux 7 days a week. He's a guy who's gotten better. Again, not a starter, but his minutes go up, his efficiency goes up, his points go up. It's not the same for Dan Skillings at Cincinnati. He tested the NBA draft waters. It apparently didn't go well. He stayed at Cincinnati for a team that looked pretty good at the beginning of this last season, really fizzled out. They didn't make the tournament, and his role got smaller and his numbers went down. I like the upside of Arceneaux that he could provide for Baylor. He's a much improved shooter this year. Still not great, 34%, but jumped that up about 6% from the year before. So the kid keeps improving. And anytime you're earning more minutes at Houston means you are putting in maximum effort when you look at that program, right? And the way that Kelvin Sampson runs that thing. So Arceneaux, I don't know if that's a real possibility, but he's a Texas kid. Had interest in Baylor before, did a visit to Baylor and everything. And if you're giving me the option between him and Dan Skillings, 10 times out of 10, I'm picking Terrance Arceneaux. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comment section below. Let me know if Terrance Arceneaux is the kind of guy that you would go for. How about Eddie Lampkin? Would you go for him? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're on YouTube here, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. About half of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. We're on the march towards 4,000 followers, and we're getting closer every day because of this great fan base that we have. So do that. Ring the notification bell to get notified every time we're going live or dropping videos. And just remember that it's your first place to listen, your first listen. There we go. Today and every day.